My name is Sarah Hawkins. The sisters, if they felt horror was a more. I'm a writer, director, practical effects lover, and I'm an aspiring filmmaker. This is a film to celebrate women in film, to celebrate the female masterminds in horror. I started this project to celebrate Women in Horror Month, which was in February. Through doing this, I've gotten to meet and speak with some amazing and talented female filmmakers within the horror genre. I met up with Danielle, an up-and-coming filmmaker from the Bay Area. Over Skype, I got to talk to Jill Gavargazian, and I got a chance to email Jen and Sylvia Saska, and they took the time out of their incredibly busy schedule to email me back and answer my questions.
Hi, I'm Danielle and I'm a filmmaker. I wrote The Dig. My partner and I, we produced it and uncredited as directing The Dig. But really the way that we make films, it's really collaborative. I think for me, making The Dig was exciting because it gave us a chance to sort of create a story that's where, you watch it and there's like a jump scare, you're, startled at the end. But then also, you go home and you're hopefully reflecting on the story as well. So we tried to sort of do both things, where it's kind of like going into a haunted house, but then afterwards get to go home having seen a good story, hopefully. What got me into film, I think, is growing up, my dad was sort of he did claymation and special effects type of things locally. And so we always had like a VHS camera around, and I just played with it from a young age. Sort of always was, playing with film and expressing myself that way creatively. And so as I grew older, I realized that, it could actually be a career path and you can make film as art and do it professionally. So I just kept doing it. I think what originally drew me to horror was probably being exposed to it at a young age. Probably younger than maybe appropriate, but I think what draws me to horror now is that I think storytelling is like a way of informing ourselves like emotionally, and I think that horror in particular sort of opens this door to sort of like these darker areas of the world that we live in that we have a hard time connecting with because we're sort of trying to distance ourselves from that and keep ourselves safe. I think for me, because I look young and I'm small and I'm sort of nice, I get treated differently than maybe somebody else might.
Danielle has a really interesting point of view, and I never thought of looking at horror as a way to see the world differently and to look at different aspects of life differently as well.
We're rolling.
We are rolling. I get your name, and what do you do?
I'm Jill Gavargazian, sometimes known as Jill 6. I'm a director, producer, writer, hairstylist. I run a screening series here in Kansas City, the first Monday of every month.
You're not going to show this to anyone, right? Right?
So what got you into film and what got you into horror?
Well, I've always loved anything scary. Once I discovered scary movies, I was just super excited. But even before that, I think I liked sad movies, like first and foremost. Even as a little kid, I remember being so morbid and like specifically sitting down to watch a movie because I knew it was going to make me cry, or I hoped it would. And I think that it's a similar reason why I like being scared. It's just anything that's going to affect me like majorly. It's not just like passing entertainment. It's like I'm either going to be scared or I'm going to like something confrontational, basically. But then what I've actually got me into making movies, I didn't ever actually think that was going to be something I did, honestly. Like I made silly stuff when I was like in middle school and younger than that. And then I started a screening series, Slaughter Movie House, 5 years ago. And through that, like I contact every filmmaker that I show their work. And through meeting all those people is I think what inspired me to do it myself.
I need to look perfect.
What's most benefited me is honestly just because I've traveled so much and I go out and like I just meet lots of people, because that's how I've gotten to work with the people I have worked with. Like Lawrence was in Call Girl because I went to a few conventions and met him and befriended him and became close over time. I never intended on trying to cast like anyone of any fame level in Call Girl, and I sent the script to him just for his opinion, and he offered to be in it, and I was just like really intimidated and horrified by the idea because like I can't direct him, I'm too scared. But then I realized that would be stupid to blow that opportunity. And then he's why Tristan was interested.
The webcam. Is it on?
Schools won't be they're not very supportive of horror, which is almost insane to me because almost everyone starts in horror, even people who don't necessarily love it. Like everyone starts in that genre.
What would you say to anyone that says women can't make horror?
I don't think anyone would say that anymore. But they're just not aware that, like Frankenstein was written by a woman, that it all started with women. So there's a lot of big movies that, that people that don't pay attention, that don't realize were made by women. Yeah, some of the best ones.
I think Jill is right that a lot of films have been made by women, that a lot of the general audience doesn't know that.
I'm changing specialties, Dr. Bear. Have you ever heard of body modification?
I asked the sisters what inspires their take on horror, and besides Mary Herron, who else has inspired them to not only get into film, but into making horror? Sylvia's response was, Robert Rodriguez and Clive Barker were big ones growing up. I like artists who don't necessarily fall under any kind of label, who just thrive to create new things. Almost every project I work on is to entertain Jen, which is why there is so much of us in our work.
You can't just drive around with a corpse in your car.
You think today's a cheat day?
And Jen's response was, Stephen King. We read so many of his books. They were our first books. I honestly think part of our sixth sense of humor comes from him, and I'm pretty proud of it.
I quit med school. That shouldn't come as a surprise to you.
I asked the sisters if they felt horror was a more female-friendly genre, comparatively to sci-fi or action. Sylvia said, I see a lot of female talent working within the horror genre with an incredible amount of support from everyone, from fans to genre-focused studios. There are so many movies getting made right now that you really have to stand out and even work more years before you get recognition for what you've done. The way we broke into the scene, and the way I suggest for all filmmakers, is to make your own film. Horror is the kindest community that I know, right up there with comic books and professional wrestling.
I'm gonna go bury the body.
Jen said, in a weird way, horror really celebrates women. Women are more likely than not the final character standing and the ultimate hero in a horror film. She then went on to say, there seems to be a lot of attention being placed on diversity and representation in front of and behind the camera, and that she hopes that that encourages more women to direct. And that she would highly recommend making horror films. The people who love them are the best fans you could ever ask for.
This is probably the most fun I've ever had.
When I asked if they felt like they had more to prove because they were women working in a male-dominated industry, Sylvia answered with, we're identical twins, so we're used to people having an idea in their head of who we are before they ever bother speaking to us. It's a novelty and often comes with uncomfortable situations for morons. But for the most part, Jen and I are well respected in the industry, especially after directing for the last 10 years. Jen answered with, I think it's more than a matter of being male or female. People look at us and our work and they think they know who we are and what we're capable of. I really don't think we've even really gotten started showing what we can do.
I have the benefit of being connected to myself and my sister.
Jen and Sylvia are so kind and are brilliant in front of and behind the camera, and I appreciate the encouragement that they give to their fans and to anyone that wants to work in this industry. This started as a project to celebrate Women in Horror Month and to kind of expose the world, the audience, to some fantastic female filmmakers within the horror genre. And it kind of evolved from just showing four very talented female filmmakers to really celebrating not just women in film, but women in horror and these female filmmakers who are just not only dominating in the horror industry, they're slaying it. I agree with Danielle that horror is a great way for people to connect. Jill gave some amazing advice, and that's to keep your name out there and to keep going. Sylvia says, don't be afraid to write crap and learn from your mistakes and to be brave in your art. Not only will I learn from my mistakes, not only will I be brave in my art, in the words of Jen Soska, I will follow my stupid fucking dream. And one day, I will be one of those women who slay in horror.